So this is my first time in Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't tell you how much fun it's been working with you and working on this new stuff. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was one of the pieces that we're going to play tomorrow, the Civil War songs by Stan Grill. So you hadn't heard of him. This is obviously a new piece for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of it?
Well, I love the contrast of moods. I love the harmonies. I love just the way in which he sort of toys around with the theme in different ways, and then finally in the resolution, you get to play all the way through.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clever.
And I also like, he was a pianist, Stan,
Mm-hmm.
Great composer, great pianist, and he really uses the piano well.
Yeah.
You know.
And I noticed that in the writing for the piano, I can only really speak to that since I'm not a violist.
Right.
In the piano writing, he takes advantage of the instrument in a lot of ways, of its natural advantages.
Yeah, I mean, I think of all of those composers that you and I have played, for decades, that wrote for friends.
Yeah.
It was always that way. Brahms would write for friends, Mendelssohn for friends. And Stan Grill, although he's a good friend of mine, this piece predates our relationship, but he has written some pieces for me since then, and so hopefully we'll get to do more of his music. But I also think what's interesting about this piece is that it was inspired by Ken Burns' Civil War documentary, and the first movement, Ashokan Farewell, is such a beautiful, tranquil piece, sort of reminiscent of just landscapes and nature, and I don't know about you, but I find it challenging to play variations and try to find different characters and bring them out. But one of the things that I've really loved about being in Arkansas is walking around some of the gardens where they're building the new museum in Bentonville.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's a lot of influence of nature and green construction of new buildings and things like that. So I think in some ways I can't imagine a better place to play Stan Grill's piece than in Arkansas.
Yeah. And of course we saw a lot of action. This sort of harkens back to the Civil War era. We saw quite a bit of action back during the Civil War. In fact, the Pea Ridge battlefield is very close to Bentonville.
Really?
It's very close, and that was a major battle in the Civil War. We had a minor battle in the Civil War. Well, it was still pretty major, Prairie Grove, but then Pea Ridge was larger. And Pea Ridge has been preserved as a state park. The Elkhorn Tavern, which was there during the Civil War, has been reconstructed exactly the way it was.
Wow.
So we have a lot of reminders of that time in the vicinity of Bentonville. But while we were playing that movement, it's hard not to think back to that time. I thought about Gettysburg. I thought about stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool when music makes us reminds us of events.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things. I mean, so many compositions have been inspired by a calamity or a positive event. And it's so true when we just can't find the words to describe something. There's music ready to take it up and tell us plenty. So well, I'm so glad that we're going to play this piece tomorrow night. I can't wait for Stanley.